Good afternoon. Today I will be discussing the tragic case of Chris and Shannon Watts. This case leaves a lot of questions and honestly doesn't give a lot of answers. One thing that can be drawn from this case, though, is that social media can be used to portray a life that is far from reality. And throughout my presentation, I will be showing multiple examples of Shannon's social media use that portrayed a complete falsity than what was actually going on. So let's get into the background of the case. The two met in 2010 when Chris sent Shannon a friend request on Facebook that she decided to accept. From there, the two started dating in North Carolina, both of their home state, and they started dating for 2 years before they got married. During this time that they were dating, they traveled out west on a vacation together and really fell in love with the atmosphere out there, the nature out there, and just overall the vibe. So when a job opportunity came to them to move out to Colorado, they were quick to jump on it. In Colorado, they decided to start their family, and they had 2 kids named Bella and Celeste. In 2015, Chris worked as a field coordinator for a petroleum plant, and this comes in later to the story. Shannon quit her job at a children's hospital to pursue an MLM company. An MLM marketing company is basically a referral company, so similar to Avon. You want to sell products to people that you know and create a network and sort of sell your lifestyle as well in order to refer more people into the company. Part of this job description is having a social media presence. These MLM companies really push a social media presence, and they also offer a lot of free trips based on how many sales that you are getting and how well you are doing, in order to help you build up your clientele and also jump up the pyramid. Shannon was really successful with what she did. She even won a company car, and she chose out a Lexus for her family. Shannon would oftentimes go on Facebook Live to show the products of the MLM she was working for. She went through several MLM companies but ended up sticking with Thrive. So she would hop on Facebook Live and show her followers the products, and she would also post a lot on social media talking about how long her days were and saying that Thrive products would help her get through her day. So getting into the case, it all starts in June. Chris and a coworker named Nicole Christinger started to talk via email and in the office. During June, Shannon found out that she was pregnant and decided to do a pregnancy reveal to her husband on Facebook. This video is really strange for a bunch of reasons, but the main reason being Chris's reaction was just very strange, and it shows his disconnect as a father. He saw the pregnancy test, and he saw that it had like pink lines indicating that Shannon was pregnant, and he asked if that meant it was a girl, which is just really strange, especially considering the fact that he had had 2 children already and didn't even know that you can't tell the gender of a baby until weeks out. Just very strange, and shows sort of the type of husband that he was.
We did it again. I like that shirt. Really?
Really?
That's awesome. So pink means...
That's just the test.
I know. It just says the pink is going to be girls.
I don't know. Just the test.
That's awesome.
In July, Shannon and her 2 daughters visited family in North Carolina for 6 weeks. This was a planned trip, but reportedly neighbors heard a lot of fighting coming from the Watts household, so perhaps there was some marriage strain, and this is why Shannon felt the need to leave for so long. But it was decided that Chris would meet her later on after the 6 weeks down in North Carolina to come say hi to the family and also to fly back with them. But during this 6-week time period, Chris Watts decided to use the time to his full advantage and really started to pursue his co-worker, Nicole. During this time, Shannon knew that something was not quite right. Chris was not talking to her as much as she would have liked and really wasn't reaching out to her at all. And she confronted him with this multiple times. She was asking why he's not talking to her, why he's only working out and not deciding to reach out to his wife. She even at one point says, "I wish my husband would talk to me." During this time of strain in their relationship, Shannon, of course, kept up a social media presence and even posted a photo of Chris, and she said how sexy he was. Even though during this time, Chris was fully engaging with a co-worker at work, romantically. She also posts a lot of photos for Father's Day of Chris, when 2 days afterwards, Chris officially put Nicole in his contact list. On July 7th, the first conversation between Chris and Nicole took place. That same night, Chris's phone pinged at multiple different routers at multiple different restaurants. On July 14th, phone records are shown of Chris and Nicole talking via text message and phone call, and that same night, Chris had 4 missed phone calls from his wife, Shannon. The reason these phone calls never went through is because Chris was at a car museum with his wife, or with his mistress, Nicole. Again, on July 14th, Shannon talks to her friends about how she feels like something is wrong. Chris also says that he no longer wants to be with Shannon and he does not want this third baby. Shannon offered marriage counseling, but Chris denied this offer. He completely wanted out of the relationship. On July 18th, Chris transferred semi-nude photos of Nicole to a calculator app for the first time. This calculator app hid the photos and just seemed like an unsuspecting calculator, but really he would type in a code and was able to access all these photos of Nicole. On July 31st, Chris finally flies to North Carolina, where he spends some time with Shannon and the kids, but reportedly he seemed really distant and quiet throughout this trip. On August 7th, Shannon texted a friend saying that Chris is terrified to have the baby. On August 8th is her 15th week appointment, and she also cancels a gender reveal party that was supposed to be held. And friends reach out asking why she canceled it, and she revealed to them that Chris is just completely not interested in her anymore. During this appointment, it is revealed that she is having a boy. She decided on the name Nico. During this tumultuous time in her relationship, she still had to keep up her appearance on social media for her MLM Thrive, so she was still promoting it during a time of such great sadness for her. This day, she also texts friends panicking, saying that she doesn't want to be a single mom, nor can she afford to be a single mom, and she also looks up on Amazon for couple counseling books. On August 9th, Shannon and her friend Nicole fly to Arizona for a work conference. Reportedly, Shannon was very quiet and upset and just was not acting like herself. She wrote a letter to Chris as one final attempt to try to keep this marriage together, and she encouraged him to write a letter back to her. During this trip, Chris sends a very strange photo that she decides to post on Facebook with the caption, "I don't know what to think about this." August 10th, Chris asked neighbors to watch the kids as he was going to a baseball game, which ended up being him just hanging out with his mistress, Nicole. On August 12th was the last Facebook post that was ever posted by Nicole, and seemingly everything looked fine. She was out to dinner with a bunch of her coworkers and friends. From an outside perspective, no one would know what the fate of Shannon would be. On August 13th, Nicole and Shannon head home from Arizona. Nicole finally dropped Shannon off at her house at 1:48 a.m. This is the last time Nicole ever saw her friend Shannon. At 5:30 a.m., security footage from the neighbors show Chris driving his truck up to the garage. This footage is very grainy, but you can see Chris make 3 separate trips, and he's loading stuff, which seems like bags, into the back of his truck. At 8:30 a.m., Chris then calls the school saying that his children will no longer be attending it. Such a strange call to make, and very incriminating, honestly. I don't understand why he did this. Later that morning, Nicole texts Shannon asking how she's doing, because she knew she had a doctor's appointment later this day, and she knew that Shannon was not acting herself at the trip, and she just wanted to reach out. She got no response, which really alerted Shannon's friend Nicole, so she decided to go with her and her son and go check out what was going on. Tried to open the door, and a Ring doorbell alerted Chris that someone was at the house. After ringing and knocking on the door a few times, she calls Chris and asks where Shannon is, and Chris says that Shannon and the kids went to a playdate. Didn't give her a name or an address, and Nicole wanted to see Shannon in the flesh and know she was okay. Nicole verifies if this claim is real or not by checking the garage, and she sees Shannon's Lexus still there with the car seats in it, and from that moment she knew something was not right. Nicole tries to go inside and keeps alerting the Ring doorbell, which then prompts Chris to call her and tell her to get off her property. But Nicole's not taking no for an answer, and she tells Chris if he doesn't come over here that she's going to call the police. And Chris is against this and tells her to not call the police, which she still does, and informs Chris that she had in fact called the police. This then forces Chris to come from his work back home. Before Chris can arrive home, the police are there as Nicole requested a welfare check. Over the phone, police ask Chris for the code to the garage, which he claims was not working at the time. And when Chris finally arrives, he does not have any sense of urgency in his body. He's not running. He's not even speed walking. He's taking his time to get to the officers.
Good, I'm Officer James Frederick, PD. What's your name? Nice to meet you. So we're just waiting for our sergeant to come over, and we'd like to go through your house. Are you okay with us searching through your house? All right. We'll have you sign a consent form. We just want to see if you left a note or anything inconspicuous, something like that.
All right.
So if you're good with that, we'll have you sign a consent form allowing us to search your house, and we'll wait for our sergeant to get here. But we'll grab that. You don't plan on going anywhere, right?
No, I was just going to walk around the neighborhood just to honestly clear my head.
Okay. Which company do you work for?
Anadarko.
Anadarko. What do you do?
At this point, news stations are alerted, and they come to interview Chris. Chris is a mess in these interviews, and at this point, he looks very guilty.
I want everybody to just come home. Like, wherever they're at, come home. That's what I want.
Where was she gone for?
Chris is then sent in for questioning, where he's asked to do a polygraph test, which he accepts to do, and he fails miserably. From there, he asks for his father, and the father comes into the investigation room, where he admits to killing Shannon because he claimed that Shannon killed their children. Chris disposed of his wife and his children's body in the oil rigs at his work. Yeah, that's the end of this case, and I think it just shows how social media can really portray a life that is not even true to the user. And not only that this is possible, but I think social media demands it of the person using it. Nobody's gonna post about negatives in their life. That's not really what social media was made to do. It was made to show the highlight reel of somebody's life.